It is your host, E.I. Smith. Today's date is Monday, June 24th, 2019. The time is 9:41 a.m. I am on Westport St. Lucie Boulevard at the baseball field and park just adjacent to the Port St. Lucie Library. I'm going to get some gang stalking caught on camera for you this morning. Be looking for synchronized obstruction of movement, synchronized space crowding, and abundance of public service vehicles and other obstructive gang stalking activity. Let's go. And right as I say that, here's our first public service vehicle. It's synchronized gang stalking activity, ladies and gentlemen. I opened this video with a conversation that I had with a gang stalking groundskeeper who is nowhere to be seen now. And why is he nowhere to be seen? Because he accomplished his mission of successfully harassing me. So I was in the bathroom washing my face and shaving, and he opens the bathroom and says he's going to call the police on me because he quote unquote knows what's going on here. And I don't know what he was talking about, but he said if you're not out of the bathroom in 5 minutes, I think he said he was going to call the police on me. So I asked him for his name. He said it wasn't important. And I asked him, do you work for the city of Port St. Lucie? And he said he did. And I said, then I have a right to know what your name is. And he refused to tell me his name, so I looked on his shirt and I started recording. His name was Fazal, F-A-Z-A-L. That is an Oriental name. He's probably Pakistani or Indian. Which factors into this because it goes to show that, okay, and there are cars here that look very suspicious. As I'm walking down the street here, there's a giant cluster of vehicles just following me. And I'm pretty sure that any number of them were responsible for that call. See, here's the thing about gang stalking, as we see some synchronized space crowding there. Here's the thing about gang stalking. You can pay a person to gang stalk. It's not just all a bunch of quote-unquote concerned citizens using moves, gestures, symbols, signs, and verbiage to communicate with one another. There's much more to this thing than I could possibly know because I'm not on the inside of gang stalking per se. And there's a police vehicle right there. Not as sure exactly what's going on over there, but as I said before, public service vehicles are strategically placed around the targeted individual, period. There's some, okay, and now the police is moving about. There's really no telling what he's doing, but it's not a coincidence that the very second I get here, now this police officer is all of a sudden very active. I got about 6 minutes of recording time left. I'm on my way to the Pruitt campus library. I'm not going to have enough battery life to catch the entire trip, or excuse me, not battery life, but storage time to catch the entire trip. But I wanted to get Fazal on camera because that man is a gang stalker. And I'm going to tell you something too. A lot of this has to do with Miamians who have access to my Facebook page. I've lived in Miami for about the last year. The Miami Beach area. And I ran into some people that were very much into gang stalking. And unfortunately, it took me a while to figure out exactly what their mechanisms were. But their mechanisms were my Facebook page and my Pinterest account. These stalkers had access to my Facebook and Pinterest because I used one of their smartphones to log in and forgot to log out. And they were doing very derogatory things on my social media account in my absence. And apparently they forgot that they had access to my Facebook and Pinterest accounts. And when I saw them next, the first thing I did was check the phone and see if I was still logged in, and I was. So I logged out of my Facebook and logged out of my Pinterest accounts, and I just feel so much better about my social media presence now. And mind you, they weren't doing any work on my Facebook or Pinterest accounts. I'm the founder and sole proprietor of EIS Media Group, Bible Discourses LLC, and all related online and business entities related to these groups. And I am the sole decision maker and sole poster of any content that goes on these sites. So they weren't doing anything work-wise, but I do think they might have performed derogatory searches on my accounts to try and make my accounts look mischievous to Facebook and Pinterest. So I've already sent letters to Pinterest concerning this. I haven't sent letters to Facebook. They're a little tougher to get a hold of. But these people down in Miami, these are the kinds of people that they are. They are sabotage agents. They are liars. I'm actually of the mindset, if you look at the Gang Stalking in Action Part 2 video that I have up on Twitter, and this is the live video series, not the Facebook edition, but if you look at the Gang Stalking in Action Part 2 video I have up, you'll see where the police are called on me for waving a gun around in a Publix grocery store and then putting it in my book bag. That is a lie, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you who I suspect of making that phony police call. And here's our next public service vehicle. As I said before, and as I've said in many videos, an abundance of public service vehicles, including police, fire, ambulance, and many others are a hallmark of gang stalking activity. Also, jerks like that Fazal guy who work for the city, that's a public service vehicle that he pulled up in. Okay? So, if you can identify with what I'm saying, if you believe what I'm saying about the gang stalking activity that's around me and that's being perpetrated on me, that Fazal guy should take the cake for you. He's a public service employee. He was in a public service vehicle. He busted in the bathroom. He said that he was going to call the police on me for shaving, saying that he, quote, really knows what's going on. No, he's a gang stalker, a fool, and somebody probably paid him to do it, one of these gang stalkers out here. But anyhow, I believe that one of those ignoramuses down in Miami that know my Facebook web address, I think what they're doing is they're looking on it daily, seeing what city I'm posting from, and calling the police in that city on me, making up false reports about me. That's what I think is going on, and it's all coming out of Miami. But police appreciate people that call them, even if they're calling them making trouble, so they probably won't